Hey everybody, we're looking at, good morning by the way, we're looking at 2 Chronicles 6 today, and we see that the temple is completed. Solomon and his men have completed the temple, and they're about to do a dedication prayer, and this chapter, most of this chapter is about that prayer, and it's recording that prayer and stuff like that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today, and we'll go through that. It's some good reading for one chapter. It's 42 verses. But go ahead, read it up, and then, the things I'm going to talk about today, not any particular verse, maybe I'm just going to bounce around and stuff like that, but starting in around verse 22, you see Solomon's prayer for the people, and he asked God to forgive us for certain things, and he, starting in verse 22, he says, forgive us for sin against other people. And rolling down and down into 24, 25, that area, you see that he then says, Lord, forgive us for sins against you. And that's something that I pray for often is, Lord, forgive me for sins against you, forgive me for sins against other people. And I add, Lord, forgive me for sins against myself. And this is something, you see King Solomon, who is the wisest man on earth, he's praying it. So why aren't we? This is something that we do need to pray for. Lord, forgive us for sins against all these people. And then you see, and you keep going down, and you see that, where there is famine, Lord, save us. And it goes on to different thing. When there's sickness, save us. And verse 32 caught my eye. It says, moreover, concerning a foreigner who is not of your people, but has come from a far country for the sake of your great name, and your mighty hand, and your outstretched arm, when they come and pray in this temple. And it says, then hear from heaven your dwelling place. And it goes on, and Solomon is praying for us. You see, Solomon's praying for the foreigner. Solomon is praying for the Gentile. He's praying for the one who is not an Israelite. He's praying for all of us, and which is really cool, because his prayer back then, it's still strong, effective, and having action now. There are still Gentiles coming to God, and Solomon was praying for us back then. And, you never know what might be the benefits or consequences or anything of your prayer. You never know what's going to happen and how long that prayer might be affecting somebody's life for the good. So it's good to pray for people. It's good to ask, to say, hey, God, pray for the unknown. It's good for all of that. And you see, Solomon did that. He prayed for the foreigner. And I'm sure he had in mind people coming from other countries or around where he was, coming into his country because they heard of God and heard of the Lord. And I'm sure that's what he had in mind. But then when Jesus come, Jesus made it so that any of us, anywhere on this earth, can get to him. That's what he does. And sometimes people fall away, and he picks it up in verse 38. He says, and when they return to you with all their heart and with all their soul, hear from heaven and forgive your people who have sinned against you. And maybe today you have fallen away from God just a little bit, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. If you turn back to him with all your heart, you turn back to him with all your soul, you begin to get your thoughts in line. You begin to get your heart in line. You begin to get everything in line with the love of God. He will hear. Solomon prayed that way back when. He will forgive. Solomon prayed that. And still today we are benefiting from it. But I just wanted to go over his little prayer of dedication a little bit and talk about it. And it's a good, there's a good outline to pray. And if you read it, it pretty much goes along with the outline that Jesus gave when he gave us the model prayer. We call it the Lord's Prayer. So, but I love you all. I hope you have a super day. We'll talk 2 Chronicles 7 tomorrow.